Hello again and welcome to MandelSoft plays SimCity for Live, and today I'm joined by Felix, who will also deliver some commentary. Say hi.
Oh yes. Hi.
Okay, right, and what we are going to do is we extend the zoning a bit, but also play some basic services so that they can actually grow. For instance, this city has no electricity at all, so it won't grow any further this, and probably play some schools, some water, hospitals, all the basic stuff. And of course we're going to decorate the motorway a bit, something which is a specialty of mine. Okay, right. First things first. We're going to put in some electricity here. And I think its most logical point is to just do it on the industrial areas. And here we have some. We have here quite clean coal power plant, and just going to look at what the most suitable location is.
Nuclear power.
No. Sims don't like nuclear power.
Well, mine like nuclear power. I have this huge German one in one of my cities.
Oh yeah,
From
me too.
SimCity.
Schellingstadt.
It's the only nuclear power plant for SimCity that actually looks like one.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the story in Schellingen that in Schellingen they don't use the uranium-based nuclear power plants, but rather the thorium-based ones.
Ah, thorium, yes.
Because
Thorium is the future.
yeah, the story goes that then there's thorium in abundantly present in the soil of Schellingen. So therefore it was more profitable to use thorium instead of uranium.
Yeah. Have you visited a real-life nuclear plant?
No, but I have visited one coal power plant under construction in Germany. Those things are huge.
Ah. Yes.
Actually,
I've actually visited a nuclear power plant.
but there was they just showed where the silos where they stored coal. It was something like in diameter of more than 100 meters and 60 meters high, and it's just
Wow.
like, what the heck?
Yeah.
The scale, man, the scale.
Yeah. The one I visited, I think, had 3 different reactors in different buildings.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It was too bad that I wasn't allowed to take pictures from it because it was really huge. It was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, we couldn't take any pictures. There were lots of security around the
Yeah.
power plant, and yeah. But we did get to visit the location down under inside the earth, a few 100 meters deep, where they did some trials with storage of uranium.
Ah.
Yeah, well, depleted low grade, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Mostly harmless stuff, but they did some cool things down there. And we visited during winter, so it was like -10 outside, but down there it was around 15 degrees, so very pleasant.
Yeah. Gotta love Swedish climate.
Yeah. And that was the last thing we did in high school, in the physics course. So when we were done with the visit there, our physics course was over.
Ah. Well, I'm going to do some cool stuff when I'm in America this summer. I think we're going to visit a facility in NASA in New Orleans where they really test rockets, just full-scale rocket.
Ooh.
And I heard
Yeah.
that they are going to test one at the day we are visiting. This would be really nice if that is really true. If it actually happens,
Yeah.
that would be spectacular.
I'd really like to visit the western and southern part of the United States, and NASA and Houston and all that stuff.
Yeah, I will go to
Florida, Cape Kennedy or Cape Carnival or whatever they call it nowadays.
Yeah, at least we go to visit Houston too. So
Yeah, just hope you don't have any problems.
yeah. The only problems we may have is the scale of the city, because compared to Dutch cities, Houston is just huge.
Yeah, United cities in the United States are they're just crazy. They waste so much space.
Yeah, if you would, yeah, I once made
Even compared to a Swedish city, they waste space.
yeah, Swedish cities are not really much wasteful with space, but not
No,
not in the not in the degree that Americans do.
No,
But
but we don't do it the Dutch way either.
yeah, the
We
Dutch
actually
way.
have some wide roads and lots of padding spaces.
Like, yeah, let's just build a 13-meter long wide road there. 2 lanes? No. No, not really a problem here.
No, why would that be a problem?
But for instance, Houston has 6 million inhabitants, and if you would compare it to the Netherlands, it would be as much as the entire Randstad. Which is actually Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, Utrecht, and all the cities in between combined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
I think I have a map of that. I always have a map, some nice maps. Marsh host. I think. Let's see, there was one with Houston. Show you, where was it? Was it again? No, that was Detroit.
No.
Just something with really the surface area clearly marked. Ah, here. I think I also underestimated one bit, sort of where in the northwest is also from Houston, but if you compare the whole Houston metro area, you can easily fit the whole Randstad area in it, which is actually a more quite scattered city. Just a few concentrated cities and lots of meadows around it, while Houston is just suburbs everywhere, and as far as the eye reaches. Right.
Yeah.
It's such
American cities.
It's such a
Suburban
waste.
sprawl.
It's such a waste of space. Which when we go back to the subject again, is what I'm doing exactly right here now.
Yeah, it will be fun when the next oil crisis hits, and all the Americans driving their cars will be just
doomed.
Can't get to work today because I live in the suburbs and there are no buses here.
Buses wouldn't drive anyway because oil crisis. Although maybe they drive because they are more efficient and therefore subsidized. But otherwise, you're pretty much doomed.
Yeah, you are.
Live stream is delayed. Live stream delayed? Yeah, blame Twitch for that. Was never really that fast. There's always been a delay with Twitch streams.
You should get a faster connection.
think I've seen one professional stream, and there was also something like a 30-second delay.
Yeah, there's usually a delay. Not always, because the connection is slow, but sometimes they have a tape delay, where you have a delay in case there's something that goes wrong, then you can adjust that.
Ah, right.
Or quickly censor or remove stuff, or edit things out.
Oh yeah. Right.
At least in America, where you sometimes have to do that, because you can't say certain things on the radio or TV.
Yeah. That doesn't happen in Dutch television.
So much for a free country.
Right, the suburb here.
So, are you going to vote in the EU elections?
Well, I have two arguments for that. The first argument is the cynical argument is, yeah, if I vote, I have the right to complain.
Yeah, and if you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain.
Yeah.
So, is it on Sunday in the Netherlands too, or do you have a different date?
We have it Thursday.
On Thursday, the same as the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's you and the UK that have it on Thursday. Most countries have it on Sunday, including Sweden.
Yeah, the thing is, with the current stance to the EU, is I think the anti-EU sentiment is a bit too large.
Yeah, I think the anti-EU sentiment is quite widespread nowadays, I'd say, in most countries.
Yeah.
Because, well,
crisis.
We've been through hard times, and people are losing their jobs, and they're dissatisfied with.
And they all blame the
EU. Handled, Greece and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have a period of anti-EU parties in the parliament.
We
both
already have one.
left-wing and right-wing. But we'll see.
Yeah, we already have one here. And it's the one who screams the loudest.
Yeah, well, we have a few. Well, we have at least 3 parties that are anti-EU or anti-more European integration, but then they have very different opinions on other stuff like immigration and stuff like that. We have a very sensible party that just want to, limit the power of the EU without taking any real stance on other issues, while just keeping it sensible. And then there are right-wing and left-wing parties that want to, almost communist or fascist revolutions and stuff like that. But they're fringe parties and usually get only a few thousand votes, not 100,000 votes.
Well, I voted for a pretty pro-EU party last time. Well, not during the EU election, but national elections.
Yeah, I couldn't vote in the last EU elections. That was the year before I got the right to vote. But I voted in our last general election too. Yeah. And I think I'm going to vote the Swedish Pirate Party for the EU.
Oh yeah, the Pirate Party.
Well, the Pirate Party has 7% of the Swedish vote last time, so that was when they got in, and they have actually accomplished lots of stuff, including rejecting the anti-count this ACTA package, and they reformed the Green Group's stance on downloading and patents and copyright. So they've actually accomplished lots of things. So I think they get my vote this time. So they remain in the parliament because they're polling right at the threshold limit right now.
Yeah.
So I hope they stay with at least one mandate.
I'm not too satisfied about all parties, but the party I voted for the national election, I think I just stay consistent with my vote.
Ah, yeah, that's usually what I would do too, but I don't think the Pirate Party can actually accomplish a lot of things in the national parliament here, because most of the laws pertaining to those infringements on personal stuff is regulated at an EU level anyway, so they're better off in the EU parliament than in the Swedish Reichstag.
Yeah. If anyone is wondering, that no, that sign mod is not available for download. It's still on development.
Which sign mod?
Well, there's one Eggman was developing.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I gave him some tips on what the signs should look like for different countries.
For Europe. Yeah, in Europe.
But I haven't heard so much from him.
No. But then again, they don't hear much from us either.
No, the NAM's mostly been. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a bug. Yeah, we'll fix it sometime. That's a known bug.
Yeah, the real life syndrome
Yeah.
suddenly strikes everyone in the NAM.
Yeah, it seems most of the time you have during the summer, but then you're on holiday and you want to do other stuff, and then it's back to school or back to work. Someone in the Twitch chat said that you maybe should put some sound walls by the highway.
Sound walls. This region I actually rarely use sound walls. I just use trees. Lots of trees.
Yeah,
Those will damp the sound anyway.
Yeah, I tend to use trees too because you rarely see sound walls where I live. I think it's mostly in larger cities. Like
For me, it's actually. Yeah, you have those big sound walls, but they don't look that aesthetically pleasing, and the only sound wall set that looks a bit aesthetically pleasing is the SFBT one, but that one doesn't have overhangs.
No,
That's
they
what
look a bit Eastern Europe too.
What? The thing is,
I'm not sure how good they would fit in this. Why?
usually sound walls they have more effect than trees.
Yeah, well, sometimes you don't really care about what effects the lot have. You care about more what what the city looks like.
Yeah, and there's also the Poland method. Sound walls everywhere. Paid from European agriculture subsidies.
Yeah.
Because Poland can do that.
Yeah, I think Poland almost has had enough subsidies from the EU soon.
They have sound walls at the most crazy locations. It's something like, I think a photo where you have a sound wall and it's on location where.
Well, they gotta use the money for something.
Let's see. Yeah, no, that picture was really ridiculous. Not just ridiculous. Yeah, here. Really ridiculous. They have put a sound wall, but behind the sound wall is absolutely nothing. Just a bare field. And maybe 1 or 2 farms, and they have put like a 3-4 meter sound wall to protect absolutely nothing from sound.
Yeah, waste of money. So now we know where the Polish EU money goes.
Sound walls.
Sound walls and agriculture subsidies. And more sound walls.
They are afraid that the Humpty Dumpty Blumpkin, the rat can't sleep during the night.
Yeah.
Or some other kind of creature you never heard about, but apparently lives there.
Yeah. Well, we put lots of wildlife fences along our roads instead.
I once heard a story in Malmo. There was some kind of was it mine there in Malmo, and they want to close the mine down, just fill it up to build some residential houses there. But there was some kind of frog there, some kind of bear frog.
Yeah, there are areas.
Yeah, that completely stopped the plans, and now it's still open there.
Yeah, there are some places where there are those protected frogs down in the south and other protected animals. While here we don't really have that problem. Instead, we have put wildlife fences on all roads, because otherwise you might get an elk or a moose or whatever wandering out there to drive. So that's why we have all those warning signs too, which German tourists like to steal.
I have one as a keychain.
Yeah, they're very popular among Germans and the Dutch people for some reason. They buy anything with the moose or elk on. Mostly Germans. Use the Poland method is used to protect animals from ear damage. Yeah.
Screw the animals. Let's see. Let's build a diagonal road here. Getting a bit
How
more?
many?
How many?
What?
Wait. The 8 doesn't work. Right. I think also some people say that the EU just poses too many rules. That there was one thing I think one of our politicians said during one of the elections is, and I think it's also kind of the truth, is that there are not too many rules, but there are too few rules at some point. And mainly some uniform rules. For instance, that payments is more equal, because some to limit some unfair competition, and that's something that's really a problem right now.
What's the problem with that?
Well, people are complaining that the Polish take our jobs, the Romanians take our jobs, or this.
Yeah, well, because they are paid a lower wage.
Yeah, that's one of the problems.
So it's much easier to, if you hire 3 Bulgarians to drive a truck 24/7 in 8-hour periods, because they don't have to abide by all the rules, and you pay them the same salary that a single Swede or Dutch person would get. Of course, it's much cheaper for the company. So yeah, that's indeed a problem, and it happens. So the question is if you should regulate it on a EU level, or if you should regulate it on a national level, or how you should solve it, because not all problems can be solved on all levels or through certain ways. So Yeah.
But it's kind of, I think there's some kind of truth in there that there are the difference can be just too big, too large, right now.
Yeah.
And
They did a documentary about the problem with the truck drivers in Scandinavia and lots of other coming from Eastern Europe taking their jobs because they were paid less and they worked more. So it's indeed a
but
problem,
part of
especially in
part of the problem is just caused by us wanting things cheaper.
yeah.
So who's actually to blame?
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Who should we blame and how should we solve this?
We can also always go to populistic way, blame the EU.
Well,
If there's a problem,
it's
always
partly the fault of the EU, and it's because they actually let the countries in that, well,
Yeah.
aren't near our level of
What-
standards.
what's
and,
also ironic.
salaries, so,
What's also ironic, we are now complaining about the Eastern Europeans taking our jobs and that sort of things, but I think 10 years ago when these countries actually joined, we were the main parties that were in favor of letting these countries join. Right, the Netherlands and the UK.
yeah, well,
and now they
10
are
years
complaining.
ago it was a different type of problem. Well,
Yeah.
when was it? Yeah,
2004.
until 2004 we were only 15 countries in the EU.
Yeah. But
And then
actually,
another 10 joined.
we are now complaining about something. We actually can only blame ourselves for
Yeah,
by
well,
letting this happen.
yeah, well,
And that
That's-
people still complain that we just let us dragged into the EU. Sorry guys, but we did it ourselves.
yeah, well, we made a mistake then, can we say? And then, well, the UK is looking at leaving the EU as a sort of solution to this problem, which is, well, maybe not the best solution, but it's a solution. So
there's some political parties in the Netherlands want too, but it's
yeah, I
kind
think
of
the
iffy
Netherlands-
because the Netherlands was one of the founding parties of the first predecessor of the EU.
Yeah, and the Netherlands geographically benefits a lot from the EU, so I would say that the Netherlands leaving the EU is pretty much a
Shot in the foot.
yeah. I can understand the UK, Sweden, and the countries farther from the Benelux countries, because you already have tight integration, and you're small countries that actually need this sort of movement and trade freedom, while Sweden mostly benefits only from the trade, which can be solved without actually being part of the political union.
Like Norway.
And when we voted, I think it was a very, very even vote with almost half the people saying yes and half the people saying no. So, and the situation has indeed changed, because back when we joined in 1995, there were only 15 countries or so that were part, and most were in Western or Northern or Central Europe, while now we have, well, quite a lot Eastern European countries that have joined too, with not all of them doing very well economically.
Yeah. But I think what I've heard and seen from, for instance, Poland is that Poland is actually doing pretty well.
Yeah, well, Poland, well, they were in quite a good shape when they joined, and they worked hard to actually build their country, while parts of eastern Poland still suffer from those problems which they had when they joined. But western Poland, close to Germany, has developed much faster than the rest of Poland, and you can see still you can see differences in Germany, for example, if you compare former Eastern and former Western
Yeah,
Germany.
that's something I noticed when I passed that border there. There's something like building style and that sort of things just changed immediately.
Yeah, and if you look at statistical data, you can easily see the border still. If you look at economics and what people believe and almost everything, it's possible to see the borders, but it's still a united country.
Yep. Fun thing is that Germany is now led by an Eastern, a former Eastern German.
Yeah.
So she was not happy when she found out that the NSA was eavesdropping at her.
No. Well, who would be?
No, especially not Frau Angela.
No.
Bad memories.
She's a bit crazy.
And so now everyone hates the American government for that. Freedom. So much for freedom.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should get back to talking about the game rather than politics.
Yeah. Still laying out zones. I should stop laying out zones sometime, but
It's starting to look quite nice.
yeah. Just avoiding.
I guess it's seasonal trees.
Yep, because they are now all placed at the 2nd of January, so the seasons are a bit off.
Ah, yeah. But
At
though,
least they are
doesn't
consistent.
those count as timed props, which cost the prop box? Or is that not an issue with, or is that only an issue on lots, or?
Well, the thing is, 4 doesn't count as props. Oh, whoops. Stupid start button.
But
yeah, the thing is, 4 does not get affected by the prop box.
but can it cause it to the other, to the city itself? So
I don't
while
know.
the trees stay, the rest of the city looks like shit.
I don't know.
No,
At least
because that was one of the reasons why I haven't really gotten a seasonal tree mod yet. While it looks very good, I don't want to get prop box in any of my cities. So, and I read that timed props are usually the problem. So that's why I'm a bit curious.
cautious.
So yeah, why did the Windows start screen or whatever it's called show
Because
up?
I accidentally pressed the start button. Just
Ah,
slip
yeah.
my key. And then it just pops up. It's really huge, like Windows 8 does all the time.
Good thing I'm still on 7.
Windows 8.
Yeah, Windows 8 came with my laptop, but I managed to get the money back from them for not using it and put Linux instead.
Yeah.
That was quite nice.
Yeah, I have also a laptop with Windows 8, but I've only I think I brought it to your place once, but
Yeah.
now it runs on Ubuntu 12.
Yeah.
And I've heard that they are going to fix some of the main issues with Windows 8's interface in the next
Well, they fixed a few
Surface Pack.
problems. They fixed a few problems in Windows 8.1 and the updates. So if you haven't got those, you should install those. And you can boot directly to this desktop and other stuff like that.
But yeah, but then I've heard that Windows 8.1 processes problem with SimCity 4 again.
Ah, yeah, that might be the case. I don't use it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I've seen some screenshots that the graphics go really weird.
Ah, well, my graphics go really weird sometimes too, but that's
No,
because
but
of my graphics card.
it just goes weird all the time.
Ah,
Okay, I think I still
well, in Windows 9 or whatever they will call the next version, they brought back the classic start menu.
yeah, I just
Or
called it Windows
some
8.
version of it.
I just called it Windows 8.2.
Yeah. Did you see the picture of the start menu? It has
hybrid.
Yeah, hybrid live tile and regular start menu. I think I could work with that.
Yeah, me too.
As long as I just get a menu like I used to do and then can type the name of the program and hit enter, then I'm satisfied.
I have something that... Oh yeah, there's another thing that they fix is that you can finally window apps, those app thingies.
Yeah.
Which I actually
Those
don't
apps
use
can
anyway
be run
because
in-
they are full screen.
Yeah, you can run apps in Windows on the desktop and you can resize them, I think.
So if you're like, yes, we can run...
And they show up in the taskbar individually. Too.
Yes, we can run apps in the new window mode because we have a operating system called Windows. What a
Yes.
genius idea! What
Yeah,
such
and
revolution!
When they have all that functionality now, it's almost as if Windows 8 never happened.
Windows 8.0.
It's almost like they've undo all the changes except they left the apps in and then just made them available on the desktop.
Yeah,
And you have the start menu again, and it's as if people didn't like the changes.
No, really?
No way.
But yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, some call it also Windows 8 Windows Frankenstein. Because it's actually two systems meshed into one.
Well, wouldn't that be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Because Frankenstein is the one who creates a monster. And they're not really two insane people.
Yeah. Then Windows 8 is the monster of Frankenstein.
Ah, yeah.
I have some particular markings for this region.
Specialized markings.
Yeah, well, they are available by standard by name, but
Are those dashed and solid?
yeah.
Looks like Belgium then.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Belgium thingy.
Yeah, I don't like Belgium at all.
Yeah, Belgium is a funny country.
Of all those pictures I've seen of Belgium and Belgian motorways, it looks like something out of the 70s.
Yeah, they are. Well, they are modernizing now, but they are. Yeah, it does look that they are. It does have feeling that.
They never.
But it has
Except cars are new, of course.
But it does have some charms for. It just has its charms.
Yeah.
I see some of the road authorities in other countries try to be too modernist. For instance, in France, the streetlights are too artsy. Just too much art, just too frivolous.
Yeah. We have a mix because we have lots of old stuff that looks quite okay but doesn't get replaced, and then we have those new fancy lights and other stuff they put up. So you can easily see when you're in a new area compared to an old one.
Yeah, but in France, I think the main example is somewhere in at the Rocade of Bordeaux. We have some really ugly artistic lights there.
Ah. I haven't visited France, so I wouldn't know.
No, I just know from pictures and Street View.
Ah. Yeah, I mostly look around in Sweden in Street View for some reason.
Oh, that's
well,
nice.
I do look in other places sometimes in other countries, but most of the time it's Sweden, looking for old signs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just also look around in some other countries.
Well, I'm a bit fascinated with finding old signs still left in Sweden, because there's so few pictures of them to find, so I need to look for them in real life. I want to know what the actual sign standard was back then, and yeah.
Won't be specs.
Yeah, don't forget to save.
I hate it when it destabilizes like that. I just when I finished zoning, I did a quick save. So
yeah, but remember to save often.
right, that should do it for now. Not sure if I'm risking. Right, that works. Right, exit lane markings, and now what we're going to do is put some decoration on the motorway. First things are the street lights. Let's see.
You put the street lights as lots.
Yes, as a lot.
I usually don't put street lights on my motorways, but
yeah, but this is kind of an urban one.
Yeah. Well, then again, we don't put much street lights on the motorway here, except for in cities, and then.
Let's see.
No city motorways where I live.
I think I will go use the light towers here a bit in this stretch, but I think I will go for a more modest one here. Let's see what's
the predominant traffic light style in the region?
Predominant street light style?
Yeah, which is the default street light style in this region?
Actually, it's American.
Ah, yeah, and you use the Ontario road markings.
Yeah. So I think this one is nice. 6C. Yeah. Oh yeah, this one bug with this mod is that sometimes it just puts speed limit in on too many places.
Ah,
So yeah, it's still in the test phase. I think I would start building light towers from this point. So I just put in one just as a reminder. Darn it, I hate it when it does that. Just demolished one of my beautiful ramps. Now it doesn't want to place anymore? What the heck?
yeah.
What's wrong with you, SimCity?
A lot. Lots of bugs to fix. But EA won't let us.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think they still profit more from SimCity 4 sales than they do from SimCity 2013 sales.
Damn it.
I haven't tried the other one since the free beta. But I've seen that they actually got some sort of NAM-like mod working recently, where you can build one-way roads.
Still not
It's just
convincing to me.
Well, you can actually use those roads to build motorways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
looks
quite.
kind of okay, but the actual ramps and
The intersections are horrid looking.
yeah, the merging lanes are just
that turns me down.
single color. A bit like cityscape intersections, except much worse. So yeah.
Oh wait, let's see. Here we have something with those speed limit signs. You think you see like three in a row, and this is like, no, this is really overdone. See Twitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does really need some tweaking.
Yeah. Ah, those are American. Speed limits, of course.
What would you expect?
Well, kilometers at least.
But you know that we're dealing with Americans, right?
I forgot.
I just helped you remember it.
Yeah, I'm sure when you're in America, you'll have a great fun time trying to convey distances and speed limits. If you happen to talk to an American.
Yeah, have to troll American, just speak in metric units only. Or if you want to go for a real challenge, SI units only. So
Yeah, well, I can actually use inches quite good because we still use them for stuff. But apart from that, no. I need some time to think about what the different units
yeah, I can convert them to.
convert to. So when I was there, I mostly stuck to metric and yeah. I didn't interact that much with Americans using units like that. So
For instance, I can just
it's
say
not
that.
like you need to specify the amount you want when you eat at a restaurant.
No.
All you really need to know is that there are free refills everywhere in America, unless stated, which I didn't know the first time I was there.
Oh, like,
Because why would there be free refills? We don't have that here.
no. We have to pay, greedy Dutch.
Yeah.
You always have to pay here.
Yeah, unless you want water, you have to pay.
I think once in Switzerland where you had was in a restaurant. No, you should call it restaurant. More like just a stop on the mountain, and there you had to pay for for a can of water from the tap.
Aha.
Tap water.
Tap water is usually free here.
Yeah. Well, there's some big cans, some like half a liter or something.
Ah.
Well, maybe multiple liters.
So, because there are free refills in America, there's no need to actually buy the largest cup when you're at a fast food restaurant or whatever if it costs you extra, because you can always go and refill it anyway.
Relative.
Which a lot of Americans don't seem to realize.
But then again, if you're in America, pick the small size. Small size is usually large enough for you as Europeans.
Yeah, the small American one is somewhere between in McDonald's at least. If you get a small cup in America, you get somewhere between the small and medium European one. And the medium is like the large one. And the large one in America is just huge.
They used to have supersize, but yeah, then there was the documentary.
Yeah, I saw the documentary a few years after it was released. I wouldn't want to eat supersize. I usually stay with medium. I mean, I rarely add an extra or plus menu or whatever here. So, going to America, everything was huge. I could barely finish everything on my plate because it was just too much to eat.
So wasteful.
Yeah. The guy in the Twitch chat says, if you're at a fast food restaurant in America, save your cup and take it home. Which sounds like a reasonable idea, actually. You can just go to McDonald's or whatever and get free drinks if you're into drinking soda.
That's the Dutch mentality. Save every penny.
Yeah. Then again, I don't drink soda that much, so... But yeah, it could work in the US. And what's the speed limit on those speed limit signs?
There it says, I think it says 70.
70. That's 70 miles per hour, then I assume.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is that slow for Dutch.
Yeah, what's 70? I need to convert that now.
70 is, I think,
112. So yeah, comparable to the Swedish 110.
Which is
while 55 is just 90.
Which is a high speed limit within city limits.
Yeah.
I think the highest in the Netherlands within city limits is 70 kilometers per hour.
What, 70?
That's the highest speed limit you can see within city limits in the Netherlands.
Ah, yeah.
Fortunately,
Yeah, well, we do have we have mostly 70 within city limits, 50 and 70 and 30, and then we have the new 40 and 60, which are used as well. But we do have higher speed limits on motorways, even if they're within cities sometimes. And the new road, by the airport,
yeah, that road
Eurodon has 80.
pretty high.
So we have at least one road that has a higher speed limit than the others within our city.
Yeah, I think we have one road. I think that one is. I think there are not many roads like that, but we have one road within city limits with a speed limit of 70 kilometers per hour, but it's only 2 lanes wide. We have opposing traffic.
Ah.
Within city limits.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have 90 on the motorways going to the large roundabout, but that hardly counts as city limits. It's just... There's lots of space around it, so... Hardly like a city motorway like in The Hague.
Yeah, that one.
Or Stockholm. And they have 70 on the ones closest to the city. Speak American. This is America, says the guy in the Twitch chat. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but we're two Europeans here talking. Although in English, with my accent being Swedish American or whatever. And Martin's being very Dutch.
Yeah, I prefer to have a British word choice. So instead of highway or freeway, I just prefer to say motorway.
Yeah, I say motorway because we call them motorways in Sweden, so that's natural for me. But other words, I sometimes pick the American version, or sometimes I pick the British word. It depends on the situation and whatever pops up in my head. Sometimes I say flat. Sometimes I say apartment, escalator, elevator, lift, whatever.
Yeah, we succeed. More towers.
You think it's enough towers sooner? Or are you going to put a light on every tile?
Well, at least they are not as used as the one Hellcheck usually uses. Those are ridiculous. Yeah. Those are ridiculously huge.
I know, they're just huge. And back when you used those globes or earth monuments inside interchanges and stuff like that, back in 2008 and 9. Yeah, it looked very a bit ridiculous, so to say.
Yeah, but then again, Hellcheck wants everything oversized.
Yeah.
I tried to convince.
Strange enough, he lives in Canada, not America.
Canada is still America. The other America, but still America.
Yeah, America's half. Ah. It's called an elevator, not a lift. The guy in the chat again.
Yes, we know. Now we shut up.
Nah. It's called a lift if you're in Britain. And if you're in America, it's called an elevator. Simple as that. And since I'm in Sweden and you're in the Netherlands, it's called neither of those.
No, it's called lift.
Do you call it the lift in Netherlands?
In Dutch, yep.
Ah, we call it the is. So yeah, well, lift.
The South African, the word for in South African sounds really funny in Dutch for Dutch people.
Yeah, Afrikaans.
Yeah, I think in South African the word for lift is hijspakkie.
Ah.
Something like voice
The
carriage.
British spell things weird. No, Americans spell things weird. They remove half the letters and
Yeah,
call it the donut. Or call it the drive-through with just 4 letters instead of 6 or 7 or whatever it's in through.
Yeah, I also tend to use the British spelling.
Yeah,
Got a
I
lot of the
mix American
OUs.
and British spelling like crazy. I really don't. I just type out of.
Yeah, but for university work we have to just to keep one
I have
spelling.
for university work. Then
Yeah.
I have to make sure, but just typing on the internet, I just whatever pops into my head and I type it, and I
Yeah.
don't really care if
Then
it's
I use the
American or British English. Sometimes I mix the Z and the S, or C as the Americans call it, the letter that is. But I like to call the letter Z instead of C. It sounds much cooler. With XYZ instead of XYZ.
Yeah.
I know the Canadians use Z too.
The Canadians also use, I think in Quebec, they also use the alternative French words for counting, which make more sense. For instance, instead,
Yeah,
instead
they
of
say.
they said
They don't say 99.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, they say 4 times 20, 10, 9. That's 99.
yeah, but instead they use huit-tant, non-tant,
That's
9/10.
that actually makes sense.
That makes more
I
sense.
live with that than speak French. That other way just kills me because the Danish use a similar system to the French where they call everything in increments of 20 and crazy stuff like that. Which is why no one in the Scandinavian countries understand when the Danish count.
Yeah. The only thing that's weird in Dutch is that we say with 20s, 30s, 40, and if we count like 41, we don't say 41, but more like 1 and 40.
Ah, yeah. They do that in certain countries, I know.
They used to do that in English too.
Yeah, we don't do it, so it's a bit confusing for me, but they do it in Danish too, I think. So,
But I know they did it in English because, well, let's just say I just read Hamlet.
ah, yeah.
Know your classics.
But older English is, well, sometimes it's easier for me to understand because they have some old words that are derived from old Germanic or Norse languages instead of more modern versions, which has been lost through time or replaced with French or Latin equivalent.
Also, the thing is with Yeah, I could only understand some words in French because in English some of these words were pretty similar.
Yeah, that helped me when I learned French to use English as a sort of intermediary from Swedish to French. But then again, we borrowed a lots of words from French in the 1700s. Then France was a huge influence on Sweden. So we have a lot of words that we Swedified the spelling of, but
Yeah, we
it
also
sounds
some
essentially
French.
the same when it's read aloud. So
Yeah,
then you just need to remember the French spelling.
yeah, we also have some words like that in Dutch. For instance, we have paraplu, which means umbrella. Which I don't hear any sound anymore. Still there? Weird. Seems that we've lost some connection. So let's just continue building a bit. Right, almost done here. Oh, just yak on lights. Nice. Right. Okay. Let's see. Now we have to place some signs. Just wait till the connection is being made again. Now I need to see, yes, this kind of sign here. Nice full country, and then 6C. This is generic one. This one for the service station. So we need one for the ramp here. This one will do. Ooh, this is overkill. This is overkill. 70, 75, 70. It's even worse than the Netherlands.
Sorry, the phone rang and I had to answer immediately.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
So I didn't have time to write anything first, so that's why it just got silent on me.
Okay. Anyway,
So what did I miss?
well, you see, we have some bit of a problem with the side mod. It just leaves sides everywhere. It's even it's even worse than
very nice.
it's even worse than what that we have now with the Dutch speed limits. It's also
yeah, the hectometer posts.
Not only that, but that they just So instead of making the speed limits more uniform, they just post everywhere and hope for a miracle.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh well, that guy in the Twitch chat wrote, "Why didn't you put axle diesel lanes by the service station?"
Because I didn't have space for them.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Or I have to really go through quite a lot of trouble again. I think I just placed them.
Sometimes you have to sacrifice realism for actually making it work in SimCity. And then he says, tell Riiga to make RHW 6S toll booths.
Oh yeah.
And I can answer that question by saying that, yeah, maybe someday I will make one. Maybe this summer, because I just have to extend the current model and make it for wider lanes. But time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell. It shouldn't be so hard, but I have to get back to changing the textures and everything like that. And it's been a while since last.
Yeah.
I did start.
I know that this sign is also one sign. Even though it's not correct, but I leave it there anyway.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing alternative.
No. I did try to get into batting again, but I only got a bit and then I had other stuff to do, so I never finished. That's the problem with me. I have loads of unfinished projects that I start. And then I never
still have
complete.
the shelling and signage set is like being delayed for like what, a year?
Yeah, I have projects that are on hold forever.
That signage set is, yeah, it's quite complete, but not yet, because I have images ready to make icons, but I haven't made icons yet.
I never got around to making icons for any of my lots.
The problem is actually the number of things I have to modify, which is over 100. More in the range of 140.
Yeah, I can see why.
That's working quite quite motivating.
But can't you automate it?
No.
What does it involve? Is it going into Reader and changing stuff, or?
Into Reader, changing stuff. But usually, and some things just need some image editing. But because it's all kind of custom, automation is not really an option.
Yeah, because if it was just inserting images and changing the option to the same thing on everyone.
Yeah, but the thing is that the images are not to the right size yet. And that's what poses the problem.
Yeah, I see. Because maybe I should try to write some program for SimCity community, but I'm not sure what type of tool is needed for, if there is some issue that can be automated.
You know what
someone
we really
hasn't
need
written a tool for yet.
I had an idea for a tool, but unfortunately I can't program. But I was like auto wealthifier. That you
But a
wealthify something. What you do is you start with just a texture,
yeah.
base texture, and it is transparency, and you have a transparency for wealth texture and some references to the grass textures, and then the tool processes these images and automatically generates just the wealth textures. But
That shouldn't be too hard to write.
yeah, there is one exploit that is not been investigated yet, but that would be useful. Is that we could use other types of grass textures rather than the standard ones to blend in better with the landscape.
Ah. Well, if you want me to write a tool that takes PNG images and just applies a wealth texture to the background or whatever, then I could easily do that.
I think I would like
I mean,
to
that's
actually...
like 100 lines of code max.
I would like to have one that automates that and just generates textures like a batch.
Yeah, well, that shouldn't be too hard if you write down a specification of, well, what the tool should do approximately and
Yeah.
what functions you expect from it, then maybe I could try and write some Java program that does that. Because, well, that seems like easy stuff to do, just merging our images like that.
Yeah, usually
as long as I don't have to work with actual DAT files, then should be no problem. Otherwise I have to get those libraries and actually understand how to use them.
Yeah, first them in libraries will be another step, but generating is one step.
Yeah, well, shoot me an email sometime. I have lots of free time, so...
Could do that.
And I haven't really been programming for a while, so it could be good for me to refresh my skills.
Just turning lanes, just to complete this episode, because it's getting a bit long.
Yeah.
I just let it save and then make a what I call a test grow. Let's just see how it would look like if I just start the simulator at some point. And see how it grows over time. With me doing nothing to it, no interventions.
No. Just make sure to save before.
I've just saved. It seems that residential doesn't want to grow yet. Or not in this area. Oh, it just wants to grow here.
Ah, it'll grow soon enough.
Just browsing around. Only this part isn't developed yet, and we have still a lot to do. It's
an old game that's not made for today's processors, so it uses one core and on the highest speed, and it's slow.
Just need to move to screen a bit to get to the right button.
The worst is when you have lots of farms and a new farm grows, then it goes,
the farm lag.
Stop. Yeah, it just halts and then it continues.
Jeez, I can't find the...
Yeah, well, they can soon find
the menu bit button anymore.
Lost focus, maybe.
There's one other new button.
It seems I'm getting a bit tired. Well, it's starting to develop nicely.
Yeah. I can't slow it down because I can't find the menu button for it. Oh.
Ah,
Click like mad, but it doesn't seem to. Hold on. Ah, there. Right.
finally.
11. See the zoning map. Doesn't make it snow, and you see only like 15 to 20. I think 20% is has some development, and the rest is not yet developed. And it takes time. Also, maybe we should
Yeah.
give this.
Stream is a bit behind.
Yeah, the stream is definitely a bit behind. Twitch. Let's see how much behind
Yeah,
it
so
is.
now I see the zone development.
Some suggest that I should split this footage in 2 parts. No.
Perhaps, maybe not.
Maybe not. Probably not. Let's see.
The guy in the Twitch chat says it's only 3 p.m.
It is this time zone. Yes, it's 10, almost 10 here. It's getting dark.
Yeah, 21:48 here, so yeah, getting a bit dark.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the game was lagging.
But the other night I noticed that the sun is going up at 4 o'clock.
Oh yeah, really nice in Sweden.
Yeah, because I stayed awake a little too long, and then I went to bed by 3 o'clock maybe. And I think, well, maybe I should read a book for a while before I go to sleep. And then when I had read the book for maybe half an hour, then it started getting lighter outside, and I saw that, hey, that's not the orange yellow light from the lamp outside. That's actual daylight starting to come. So I didn't realize that the sun was going up so early already.
Yeah, I thought when I was Sweden was also my biological clock was a bit offset. So
Yeah.
the clock.
Yeah, in June it becomes even worse because then it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, the sun starts to rise, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, this had something a bit to reverse when I was in Berlin somewhere in November of 2011, and there it felt just. It was like it was getting dark quite quickly, and I was actually still at the same latitude, but I shifted from time zone something like 40 minutes later, according to the sun time. So
is Berlin really that far from? Because Linköping is only maybe 2 or 4 minutes from the actual.
yeah, I think
No.
Berlin is also.
Berlin is maybe 10 minutes from the
but
actual center of the time zone maximum.
But
So,
the Netherlands is 40 minutes shift as
yeah,
well.
Netherlands is 40 minutes away. Stockholm and Gothenburg are, I think, 15 minutes or 20 minutes apart. Well, we're close. Berlin, 10 minutes. Malmö and Copenhagen, 10 maybe too. So.
But see, this grows nicely, but I see only, low wealth up here.
Yeah, well, looks a bit like America. Maybe the northern parts of America, because
we have no schools here. Oh. Hey. Oh.
Oh,
I wanted to zoom in. Oh.
mostly pine, mostly the
I
trees.
wanted to zoom in and then the game crashed.
Looks
So
like Northern America.
okay.
Southern America has more palms and
Yeah, this stream is crashed. So thank you all for watching, and maybe I will see you next time. Thank you, Felix, for joining.
well, thank you, Martin.
Yeah. So